comes to an end, we pack it down, remove the nails and screws, putty the holes in the walls, sand them smooth, and attempt to paint everything invisible with a flat white finish. Then we bring our next show out. Works get arranged in the space, they get rearranged, they inevitably get rearranged again. And the goal is to give everything its own clear, uninterrupted space, to provide a halo of white around each artist's work so that it can be taken in without distraction or interference. Objects have to be positioned so they don't compete with each other. Subtle works are a particular challenge, and bold works similarly. You can't put undue emphasis on a particular part of the exhibition space. And then there's the idiosyncrasies of the space itself. Just because we've got rid of all the traces of the previous exhibition doesn't necessarily provide us with a clean slate. As works get moved around the gallery in pursuit of that perfect position, I start to present windows in the middle of a particular expanse of wall that would otherwise be a perfect 12-metre spread of whiteness. The small shadowed domes of security cameras or the 12mm protrusion of skirting boards start to catch my eye in ways they never would with anyone else. And don't even get me started on the warm sepia or the irregular patterning of our parquetry flooring. I've even been guilty of removing hanging rails and sneaking them out of the gallery one at a time. The idea, of course, is to try and find the optimal conditions for viewing art. The clean, minimal space we're striving for was a modernist ideal, the white cube. It supposedly allows for artwork to be seen in its purest state. Colours, textures and shapes that might not otherwise be compelling enough to capture our attention in a living space get their moment in the sun. Audiences even get the opportunity to see how these elements might echo or contrast across the exhibition. But what these conditions don't necessarily allow for is the chance to see how artworks relate and situate themselves in the lived world.
Event, not only as one of the judges, one of the three judges, but also as representative of Sculptors Queensland, and one of the earliest members of that organisation that was originally called the Society of Sculptors Queensland. And next year we are celebrating our Golden Jubilee, which is really something, and I hope that Arts Connect goes on into the future and gets to celebrate their silver and their Golden Jubilee down the track and be as strong as we have been too in the future. We were very much aware of the criteria for selection of work for this exhibition this year, and there was certainly, from what was presented to us by the exhibitors, I made a few notes of what the entrants had come up with. They've drawn our attention to the pollution in the oceans, the recycling of waste, the importance of understanding that not everything should cost the earth. We're invited to celebrate the coastal ecology, the native wildlife, the heavens above, and the potential of natural resources. We had the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, to consider the good and the bad times, to feed our inner self, awaken to life through contemplation and meditation, and to be happy and aim for our personal best. Creativity has no limits. And I'd just like to read just a couple of words from Kath Schillam, who many of you may have heard of. She and her husband Leonard would be seen as the founders of the Society of Sculptors here in Queensland. They're very highly regarded sculptors who are no longer with us, but Kath once wrote, "Object, post-object, non-object, object visible or invisible, according to your mental attitude, it's fun to argue the pros and cons of all this, but the really successful sculpture of any type is so completely mind-expanding and so totally gut-stirring that when confronted with it, there's nothing left to argue about." I recall Kath also filling in a form with the column-headed religion, and she felt it highly appropriate to write the word sculpture in the space provided. So without more ado, and thank you for your welcome to me and to so many of us this evening. It's been very nice to be a part of this celebration tonight, and congratulations to all those who've won awards and to those who have endeavoured to compete for the competition. May there be many more. Thank you.